This is Business Banter by the Basin. I'm Shani Taylor, Global Coach of the Year, as presented by the Duchess of York.
And I'm George and I'm CEO of Lab Group Australia. I'm 24 years old and we have a group of 5 brands, 5 hair and beauty brands around the country.
So let's talk about building an audience of buyers.
I feel like this is going to be more your show today because you've got lipstick all over your teeth.
Great.
That's good. I feel like it's going to be your show today because I feel like this is very much what you do day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
This is, so the floor is yours.
Take it away.
This is Shani's 60 Minutes episode.
Okay, so in 2012, I started a blog. And I remember I still can vision myself sitting in the room upstairs at the house I lived in, beautiful greenery, table looking outwards, wrote a blog, got really excited to post it on the internet.
You just like in a movie.
Yeah.
It's like a writer writing their first book.
That's how it felt. And I wrote this blog, I posted it up on the internet, and you know how many people read it?
Millions.
Zero. Right?
That is the most heartbreaking thing when you put so much work into something.
It really was. And I had
feeling.
no idea why. I was like, but I put it up on the internet. Don't all the people
Isn't
come
that
and
how
read
that
it
works?
now? Yeah, it turns out that's not how it works. And after I got over my initial heartache of, what's wrong with me and don't people care about what I've got to say?
Everyone hates me.
Everybody hates me. Yeah. I didn't realise in 2012 that would prove to be an invaluable lesson that would serve me in 2019.
Yeah, wow.
Because in 2019, which by the way, it's now 5 years ago this month that I started this business.
The blogs?
The business I'm in now. But in 2019, I decided I would start a business. And what I realised from the heartache of posting a blog on social media and literally nobody.
Not a soul.
Not
a single soul, dead or alive. Not a single soul.
Right.
Not even dead people want to listen to this.
Not even dead people came to read this blog. What I realised was that it didn't matter. In 2019, when I started this business, and I had no idea what I was going to do, I had no offer. What I did know was I had no audience. And that was actually the most important thing. Before I even worried about...
Well, it's only up from there, I guess.
Is it right?
You can't get any less people.
Before I worry about a pretty logo that we spoke about on our last episode, before I worry about slides in Canva, before I worry about colours...
Professional software.
Before I even worry about professional software, I had to worry about who was my audience. Because there's this old fable that I think came from the Bible or a movie. Could be either.
This just became a Christian podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
Build it and they will come. No.
Have I told you a story about how someone I used to work for used to say that about their entire business model?
Yeah, I think I have
told
heard
you
this from you. Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It costs you a lot of money.
Well, do you know what it is? It's build an audience and they will come.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But so here's the thing. All of the paraphernalia out in the world tells you to go find leads. No. You do not want leads. You want buyers. Yeah. And there is a massive difference. And I've literally dedicated the last 5 years of my life working on a methodology, refining it, using it, teaching it. And there is a massive difference between a lead and a buyer. So a lead is your demographics. And this is what every business coach out there, even the gurus, tell you to go and do. Go get leads. Even the gurus.
Even the gurus. Let me tell you about it. Tell me about the gurus. Tell me about that.
Tell me about it, babes. They say you got to generate leads. Now, they ain't wrong. You've got to generate people that are going to buy from you, though, not leads, right? So a lead is this. I'm going to make the distinction really simple. A lead is your demographic fit.
Yes.
I.e., you might be a hairdresser and you might have a preference for serving women clients because they typically spend more than men, and you might like to work with 24-year-olds to 40-year-olds, right?
Next.
For those of you wondering why this is funny, it's because I'm basically 20 years older than George. But
Older with a big capital O.
oh, stop it now! But you know what? I had a client, well, now ex-client the other day say to me that she finds me to be such an inspiration, and she's like, even though I'm 20 years older than you, and I was like, but it doesn't even feel that way because it's not about the age as the number; it's about the energy.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely. I think age is something that you can be however old you are. You can be just as useless as a 5-year-old.
Totally.
You can be 45 and be useless like a 5-year-old. I've met them. You know, I bet 5-year-olds more useful than a 45-year-old sometimes. Let's be real.
100%.
So age means nothing.
Yeah, but anyway, we digress, right? So, as a hairdresser, that may be the type of person that you want to target.
Yes.
But that is the lead because that's the demographic that you're targeting. But here's the thing, not every woman aged 24 to 45 in that demographic
Is coming to you.
is going to buy from you.
Yes.
And so there's a couple of things here. So that's a lead, but a buyer is somebody who has the demographic, but number one, they're problem aware and solution seeking.
Yes.
Right? So, yes.
Can you explain what that means to people? Because people don't know what that means.
Okay.
Because that is...
I'll give you an example. I'm single and a relationship coach...
she's not trying to just let everyone know. That's not marketing, right?
Yeah, don't so
she's single. But for our listeners, you're gonna have to go watch. Sorry.
Right. So a relationship coach who serves women in my age bracket, single women, she might or he might look at me and go, oh, well, I'm going to try and connect with Shani because I'm going to help her get a relationship. But Shani is not problem aware or solution seeking, meaning Shani does not want
She's not aware of the problem. She doesn't know that she's got a problem.
I don't have a problem.
Joking.
Meaning that while I might fit the demographic of being single and the age bracket, I am not looking...
You're not looking for a solution.
I'm not looking for a solution.
It's not a problem. Exactly.
It's because it's not a problem for me.
Yes.
Right? And so, meaning I don't want to go find a man to just give me more grief.
And this is how I explain to people when it comes to, and I use the hair salon as an example. My audience of buyers are the people that don't have a hairdresser, not even blondes. My audience of buyers are the people that had that one off day with their hairdresser. One off day. And they're going, I don't know if I'm going to go back. I probably will. And then they see one thing on Instagram and it's one post and they happen to see my face on there or Fatima's face on there or James's face on there. Yeah. And suddenly they're like, I'll go try these people out. Suddenly that's a new client for me.
Right.
I'm looking for the people who are looking.
Exactly.
I'm looking for the people who are looking. That is essentially what it comes down to.
Exactly.
I'm not looking for, if you've got a hairdresser, right, you're happy with me being your hairdresser.
Yeah.
I hope.
He hopes.
From what I've heard, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not looking for a new hairdresser and you see something nice on Instagram, you might go, oh, that's nice hair, move on. Right?
Or I'll bring you the photo and go, do my hair like this.
Yeah, and then I'll say no.
Right. So they're looking, they're actively looking, right? So that's the first thing about, that's a characteristic of a buyer. And then the second thing, though, is that there's shared values. So let's use the example of the hairdresser again, right? Pretty much everybody's going to have a hairdresser. So why do they choose one over the other?
Yes.
Well, there's a shared value, which often is not always obvious on the surface. And so it's about, you've got to understand, what is my buyer, in their perception, what is of value to them? And so they're really the two characteristics that define the difference between a lead and a buyer.
So then how do you explain, how do you give your customer base, your client base, how do you show them value?
Okay, so let me be clear. It's not about showing them value, it's about sharing a value. Uh-huh. Now, in my community, in my work...
Actually, let me rephrase that question then. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I want to... I'm asking you the question so you can explain it, but this is the example I had, right? The value I share with the majority of my clients, right, is a science-based approach to hair, right? And it's a value that myself and majority, I hope most of my clients, share as well, because that's why they come to a hairdresser who has I've got a more extended education outside of just hairdressing.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. That's probably why they stay, but I promise you that they are not going to bed at night going, where can I find a science-based approach? That's not.
I'm being yelled at.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm getting yelled at.
But that's why they'll stay, because what happens is then they come in, they get their hair done, you explain all of that.
No,
It
but we
sounds
value healthy
amazing.
hair.
Yeah, sure, but so does every other hairdresser, George. So
No,
calm
they don't.
down, calm your farm. I'm gonna tell you.
We're fighting.
So
Fighting on the pod.
we're fighting on the
We're
pod.
fighting on the pod.
Hey, ching ching.
Let's go.
Round one.
This is a clip. I'm
Yeah,
putting the sound effects
I
in.
know,
Done.
right? Right.
Street Fighter.
Yeah. Round one. Okay, so let me give you an example. So, Footsie's under the table.
She's getting violent. She's kicking me now.
I'm not kicking you. This
She
is
just
love.
yelled at me
That's a
and then
little
she just
love
kicked
pat. It's a little love pat. Yeah, okay, stop it.
Maybe she is man seeking. She's love seeking.
I am love
She's seeking love.
Okay, let me give you an example from my business. So
So we're going to cut that.
well, first of all, in my community, I teach a way to human profile without even having spoken to somebody first to know whether or not they're ever going to buy from you, either now or into the future. And you can use this if you're looking at people on social media or if you're looking at people in person at an event, right? And so this is the difference between a lead and a buyer. But there's certain characteristics that you need to know. What am I profiling here? What am I looking for? And there's a shared sense of values. So as an example, every single client of mine values connection. And then you need to be able to go and work out. So when I go and look for somebody, if I'm looking on social media or I'm having a conversation at an event or I'm profiling somebody at an event before I speak to them, there's certain things that I'm looking for that will very quickly demonstrate whether or not they have a shared value, a high value, because everybody values connection, but I mean like top three on connection, because otherwise they're not going to work with me because there'll be a disconnect.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it will. When you share something, it makes everything. Actually, makes it's like anything. I mean, you connect with someone better if you have a shared experience. You have a shared anything.
Yeah, and so the value is typically an emotion that is felt.
Of course.
Right. So it's not the science-based approach to hair. Now that in itself will keep me here because, so what I would say is your clients value status as one of the values. Because if they...
This is why she's the business coach of the year.
This is why I'm Global Business Coach of the Year. Because in order for them to stay, because when I remember when I came in, and I came in because the hair was looking like crap, there'd been problems, it was drying away, and, you know, you were talking to me about the science-based approach. All of the sudden, that elevates the position, your position in the marketplace, because now I'm like, I get to be a bit wanky with my friends and go, well, my hairdresser values science-based approach and this using his methodology, right? But that's not what brings us in.
Oh, okay.
So it's more the status that you can project in your branding and in your
Discussing branding. That was my episode.
And by the way, it'll even be, it's typically for brick and mortar businesses, it'll also be the way your shop front presents.
Oh, of course, yeah, and I say to people all the time, hairs. I don't know. You've seen salons that sometimes they forget a little bit of their visual kind of, selling point. And I say to people all the time, do you know my biggest time of the year that I get the most clients, like new clients, is the period that I'm closed for 3 weeks every year.
All right.
Because my doors are shut, my Christmas tree's up, my lights are on, and people are walking up and down the hills non-stop, and they go, I want to be in there.
Yeah.
That's it. And I say it all the time. You see salons, and they're just like not enough put into it visually.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter what product you have, what service you have to have an audience of buyers, not leads.
Yes.
And then you have to put messaging and content in front of these people every day, every other day that connects with your brand message, because then those buyers convert. And what I see a lot of the time is people either don't do this at all, or they think that they're doing it because they got taught to go and add a bunch of random people on social media, and then they put out content and messaging. It gets 5 likes, mum's your biggest fan, and the reason is because you have leads, not buyers, and there is a huge difference between the two.
Of course.
And truly, this is how I was able to go from 0 to 5 figures in my first 30 days in business, over 350K in my first year, and 7 figures by my second year, because I have the right buyers, not just leads.
Of course.
Anything you want to add?
No, I think you wrapped it up in a nice little bow there. I
Yeah.
think we can call that the end.
Okay, the end.
And Shani, where can they find you?
Insta or Facebook at Shani Taylor Official with the blue tick. And what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at George Official, that's MATTAR, and you can find all our other links in the show notes.